that contest and you can hang out with us, IRL.
Because we're so fun. Hi everyone, thank you so much for joining us for Marketing Beat. I am Beverley Theresa, a social media consultant, and this is my co-host.
Hi, I'm Ameet, and I own Ameet Khabra Marketing Inc. Oh my gosh, I almost forgot the name of it for a quick second. We are an online advertising agency that specializes in pay-per-click advertising. And today we're going to be talking about long-term strategies to lowering your CPA. 2 weeks ago, we did short-term strategies, and if we have time today, we might do automation, but I don't think we're going to have the time, so that'll be 2.
Shoot.
It is what it is. So for those who don't know what CPA means, CPA is cost per acquisition, so essentially cost per lead or cost per sale. So in AdWords, essentially what ends up happening is there's a couple metrics that I look at. And the way in the order that I do them to, it's very specific. I don't know why. It's impressions. So how many people see your ad, clicks, how many people actually click through, and then your CTR, which is your click-through rate, is essentially some math behind how many people saw your ad how many people clicked on your ad divided by how many people saw your ad times by 100, essentially, to get your percentage of how many people actually click through, and that kind of gives you an indication of whether your ad is good or not. But then the other part of it is that people come to your site and you obviously want them to do an action. And that's essentially what we're looking to pay for at the end of the day, really, right? We're paying for the click, but really in reality, we're actually paying for the lead. So what we're doing here is looking at, for every 10 people that click through our ad, did 1 buy? And if so, we'll know that the 10 clicks, let's say $100, is actually $100 per lead.
Oh, okay.
Yeah? Okay.
It does.
So the constant goal for us is always obviously increasing CTR, because we want people to come to the website more. And if we have a higher CTR, the better our ads are, but also more people come. But after that point, some agencies like to go, well, this is it. We got you the people to your site, now you have to deal with it. And that's not necessarily the right, would it be methodology? Would that be the word?
Maybe.
Yeah,
Tactic? Strategy?
Yeah, strategy. I don't think it's necessarily the best. I think we need to be looking at the website and then going in and trying to figure out what exactly is hindering the success. But sometimes we don't have access to the website, and the clients won't give us access to the website, or they won't take our suggestion. So we have to go back into the AdWords account to look at what we can do to improve the number or the dollar amount that we're paying for each acquisition, right?
Okay.
So 2 weeks ago, we talked about short-term strategies, which you can watch our video on, of course. And now we're going to be talking about the long-term strategies. When we have more data, we can do more and actually make more informed decisions. So the first one that we usually, or what I'll look at, is match types. So it's a question I get a lot through Instagram, actually, which is kind of really great, is what you do with match types or how you structure accounts. And I'm still of the thought that SKAGs, single keyword ad group, is still the best way to go. I know that there's some people in the industry that don't believe so because of the close variance incidents, but I still swear by it because it's something I've been doing for years and I literally don't want to let it go. So in each ad group, what I essentially do is all 4 match types. So I'll even do broad at this point because studies have suggested time and time again that 40% of conversions are left on the table if you don't use broad match. Yeah, it's insanely high. It's high enough for me to want to do it. And then we'll do exact match, phrase match, and then broad match modifier. And what I do is I let them sit in the account for a long period of time, right, until the information is or the data statistically significant enough that I'll go in and go, okay, well, maybe broad match isn't the best match for us right now. It's not generating any leads. We're going to pause it, right? Maybe exact match is the one that's actually getting us more clicks and more conversions. So we're going to keep that and then pause the rest of the match types. So now what happens is that all that money that we were spending, instead of dividing it between the 4 and testing which one works, we're putting all the money into an exact match that we already know works.
Okay.
Right? So essentially what we're doing is saying, hey, Google, we know exact match works the best for us. We're going to put more money into exact match, and therefore our CPA will go lower because we're only spending money on exact match versus 3 other match types where we're wasting cash, and that will lower your CPA. So it'll lower your spend, but it'll also lower your CPA, which I think is kind of really great. And then you also have to remember, always update your negative keyword list, especially if you're using broad match. Broad match catches a slurry of random, horrible sometimes searches, and we need to stay on top of them. So especially if it's an account that has high traffic, you need to be in there every single day. If it's low traffic, once a week maybe, especially at the start of the campaign for sure. Next, we would dig into like something, or not like something. We would dig into search terms essentially, right? So we're going to be looking at the search terms report. We're going to look at what keywords were triggered, and this goes back to the negative keyword list a little bit. We're going to look at what keywords are actually triggered, and if they generated money for us, because even if we're not bidding on them particularly, we still technically are, if Google deems it to be a keyword that makes sense for them or makes sense for us to bid on. So it's a great place to find new keywords that you may have not considered. It's a great place to find negative keywords because, again, you're spending money on these keywords, especially if somebody clicks through. And that's going to also, again, help. So if you find a new keyword, well, now you're making more money. If you find a new negative keyword, now you're not wasting any money. And that also lowers your CPA, which is fantastic. And then the next one is placement. So this is more or less on the display side, I guess you can say. Oopsie daisies. Sorry about that. I usually turn off my sound. I totally forgot this time.
Oopsie daisies.
I'm trying to be less potty mouth.
Oh, okay, continue.
Just on the live, not in life.
Yeah, I know, not in life. Because you're the worst.
So number 3 is placements reports, essentially. So the Google Display Network can serve as like this really fantastic way to support your digital marketing efforts, right? Especially for people who have come to your site and have decided that they don't want, or well, they haven't decided, they just kind of left, or you're trying to find more users essentially, so you're doing a brand awareness campaign or something along those lines. Your ad ideally would be showing on like relevant content type of websites, but unfortunately, again, we don't have control over that. They show where they're going to show unless we actually specifically say we want these exact placements, but you have to have tons of information from that client beforehand to be able to determine which placements are going to be the best for them. So usually what marketers do is just let it run, and then we take a look at the placements report afterwards to give us an idea of what exactly is actually happening. What you would do is you would essentially go into your placements report again, and just filter by cost and see what happens, really. So I've seen some networks take like thousands of dollars and not convert a single person at all. It's pretty ridiculous. So essentially what you're going to do is go through them and skim through and just try to figure out which one's been converting, which ones haven't. And again, you're doing the same thing. You're narrowing down your target to places that you know will make you money versus allowing yourself to continue spending money thinking that you might one day make money off of it, right? And especially And sometimes like the networks don't necessarily spend a lot of money. Sometimes it might be like $80 or something like along those lines.
Mm-hmm.
But when you start to add them all up, it could be thousands of dollars. And that's advertising spend that you could have spent somewhere else. So making sure that you update that list frequently is really, really important. So on that front, if you're high traffic, then probably every other day, just want to double check. And then if it's a low traffic, I would say once a week, bi-weekly at this point, maybe even monthly, because if it's not a high spending account, you don't necessarily need to be mining that data as frequently. And then also you need to remember, and this is one thing that they always catch you on, is make sure you take a look at your search campaign as well. Because we do have the option of having a search campaign that's also a display campaign. So it's like search with display select. So make sure that if you have chosen that option or have forgotten to take display off, take a look at the placements there too, right? We want to make sure that we're not spending money in places that we aren't supposed to be spending money, basically.
Right.
And also, if your brand is like one that doesn't necessarily want to be shown on X-rated websites or on gaming websites or things that have that are like
political,
sensitive, like really, I don't know, just random content that you just don't want to show up on, you have to go into content settings and actually go in and so tell Google, hey, I don't want to show up for gaming sites. I don't want to show up on rated R, I think is what they've put it in. I don't want to show up on like really sexually aggressive sites, and that is actually an option. Or like things about like violence or something along those lines. You have to go in and make sure you don't do that. Because again, that's the other half. If you're not necessarily talking to that audience, then I don't know what brand would be.
Other aggressive, violent websites?
I guess so. But I feel like those would get banned from Google in the first place.
Oh yeah, I guess, hey.
So like I don't know what other brand that's going to be approved by Google that would want to be on these sites. But yeah, just to save yourself some money, obviously, and you don't want to be talking to an audience that doesn't want to hear from you. Because again, you're spending money that you don't need to be spending. It's increasing your ad spend and obviously increasing your CPA. And at this point, if we can get our CPA at, let's say if it was $100 down to 75, that's a 25% decrease. And that means more money in your pocket, really, at the end of the day. So just remember that, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And then our last one for today, so if anybody has any questions, start pouring them in, is keyword bid adjustments, essentially. So in some cases, not every keyword that spends money without converting is one that you want to negate in that sense. So they may not be like the best fit for your business, but you still would find a reason to essentially show the ad to that person for that particular search term, I guess. So in order to manage these keywords, so you could manually lower the bids, and that could make things more reasonable in terms of cost. So sometimes your sales cycle is like super duper 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 long, and you know that this particular keyword is part of that sales cycle, but you don't want to be spending a ton of money on it and just wasting cash and increasing your CPA. You could manually just decrease the bid by like 15% or 20 or whatever you're comfortable with, and that also helps with lowering your CPA again, because the less money you spend, the lower your CPA, which is freaking fantastic. So one thing that you need to keep in mind is that you can manually adjust your keyword bids if it suits your needs. But if a keyword has produced 0 conversions during like a particular set of time or whatever, and you don't want to keep your presence, or you want to keep your, I guess presence is the word, there you can manually essentially just set your bid to a lower amount. So that way, the other keywords that you want to be shown for will show up more frequently than the one that you don't want to be shown for. And
Okay.
also take this into like a high value keyword that you want to manually maybe like lower down just to chip away at that CPA as well. And that doesn't, I mean, it's a nice strategy, but it doesn't always work. I always look at like the ad copy first and I look at the landing page. So what I want to do is improve the quality score before anything else. And if I've got the quality score at maybe like an 8 or 9 and I know there's no way I can make it a 10, then I would start looking at lowering bids and seeing if I could play around with that. Because I think a lot of people have this notion of, well, we need to bid higher than everybody else, but that's not necessarily the truth. I don't think. I think studies, I'll have to double check this information, so don't take it. So take it with a grain of salt, is essentially what I'm saying. But studies, the last time I read a study, it suggested that like lower ad ranked ads have a tendency to perform better because a lot of people have a notion that the first one is always an ad, but they don't necessarily think about the next two options. So don't get too hung up on ad rank and spending money to be top when you don't necessarily need to be. And yeah, that's essentially kind of it for long-term strategies. Yeah.
So then in 2 weeks, what will you be covering?
I'll be covering automation. So how to use automation to lower your CPA.
Cool. And then next week, we'll be talking about making content creation and curation easier. So I'm going to have some tools, but also I'll show you how to set up a workflow so that you can just like instead of signing up with tools, you can just use an RSS feeder or whatever it is. Anything new with your Facebook ad guide? How can people get that?
You would go onto our website and just sign up for our newsletter. We're still having a couple snafus with that, but we're almost ready. I think we've switched over to active campaign. So we're just doing the final touches on figuring out how to make that launch. And then I think there's like maybe 60 people that didn't get the newsletter. So they'll get it either today or tomorrow at this point. And then after that point, it'll be running again. Thank God. So the two is just come onto the website and literally just sign up for the newsletter.
Cool. Yeah. That's easy.
And what's going on with you?
This Saturday, I am doing a seminar on branding yourself and launching your company into a global marketplace. So it's talking about affordable tools for entrepreneurs on having like their digital presence. And that's a free seminar, but you have to donate to the PIFE fund, which is Patricia something fund. I don't know her exact name, but the money it goes to like youth who are looking to start a business and vulnerable children in like developing countries and stuff. So it's actually pretty cool. Oh. And then on the 28th, I'm speaking at Next Big Thing, and Ameet will be there.
Yes, I will be. Sign up for my newsletter, sign up for her newsletter. But anywho, thanks for joining us. What are we talking about next week again?
Content creation and curation, making it easier for you.
Perfect. We'll be back on Wednesday at 10 a.m. MST and 11 a.m. No, 10 a.m. PST and 11 a.m. MST.
Yes.
And if you have any questions in regards to CPA, or if you've got social media questions, maybe, I don't know, you can slide into our DM.
Ask Ameet about skags.
Yeah.
I just like saying the word skags.
I know. You didn't do the dance with me.
No, I was doing it just now.
Oh, okay. Well, anywho, that's the end. Ta-ta.
Bye, friends. See you later. Bye. See you next week. Bye. Bye, 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 bye. Okay, end the slide.
Bye, bye.
Alan, no one cares about your noodles.